The first edition of CLANFIDENTIAL in 2024, and we couldn't think of anyone better to have but a gentleman who's about to make his 900th appearance in the EIHL coming up in Dundee at the DIA. Robert Lachowicz, does that make you feel good when I say 900 games, or does that make you go, wow, it's been a long and winding but fun journey?
Yeah, it makes me feel old, to be honest. But no, yeah, it's cool to have been around that long. You know, I was saying the other day, seen a lot of good players come and go from the league, so it's been an experience for sure.
Well, to be honest, you don't look any different than the first time I met you way back in probably '08. So that you keep yourself in good shape. You seem to be a type of player that can avoid injuries because you do keep yourself in good shape. And there's obviously a method to the madness to stay healthy, and to 900 games in any league is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I know. I've heard a few times that a lot of people think I'm maybe younger than I am, but I had a shave yesterday, so I'm looking a bit younger today.
Knew you were going to come on CLANFIDENTIAL, and you wanted us old guys to feel old. Those of us who haven't played 900 games should probably look a little bit younger, but not so much. Let's the CLANFIDENTIAL, as you know, it's a bit of fun. But before we move on to some more sort of behind the scenes stuff, just maybe a favorite memory. You think back to, I mean, togging out for the under-16 Nottingham Cougars way back in 2002, and all the way up to your first EIHL game in the 07-08 season for the Panthers, and now we're in the purple with distinction. I mean, is there one moment that sticks out where you're like, you know what, I can be a pro hockey player and I can make this a career?
Yeah, it's a long time ago now, but you know, I didn't make this step up immediately to go with the Panthers. I stayed around with like I think it was under 18s then, and the Lions in Nottingham, and we had a really good squad, and that helped build my confidence, to be honest. And then I made the step up to the Panthers when I had a bit of that confidence, and you know, I was a bit bigger, a bit stronger, and it kind of made that transition a bit easier for me. And just kind of the longer I was practicing and with the adults, with that team in Nottingham, you kind of start getting that belief that, yeah, maybe I do belong here. And, you know, you keep working, keep trying to keep up, getting stronger, and it kind of just snowballed from there.
And you look at the GB moments as well. It's not just the EIHL games. I mean, you must be over 1,000 games when you think of the other things you've done in your career, whether it be GB or playing in Conti Cups and stuff like that, and playing in Europe. I mean, you look at it, it has been wonderful to watch. And you talk about the good memories and getting the confidence. Isn't that so important for? And you look at a guy like Rhys Kelly getting regular minutes now and getting that confidence, and so many good Brit players over the years.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I've never thought of the game as a confidence thing, but it definitely is, even if you don't think about it. You know, if you're feeling good and you believe you're going to win games or do well at certain points, then that's what happens. If you doubt yourself, that's when you can get into trouble. But, you know, especially with RK at the minute, we're trying to keep him happy, keep him positive. And, you know, if he makes mistakes, he makes mistakes. We all do it. But it's how you bounce back, and you kind of forget about that, and you believe in yourself and your abilities. And yeah, it's a huge thing for young players, but I think it's very easy for young guys to kind of get down on themselves and maybe think that they don't belong. So we, as older guys now, we try and keep them on the straight and narrow and believing in themselves and having that confidence.
Oh, you certainly belong, and so does RK. Let's have a little bit of fun on the eve of this, your 900th appearance, as we head into the weekend. Who is your favorite team playing up? Doesn't have to be NHL either. Was there a team that you grew up and said, oh, that's what I want to do?
I always liked, for no reason really, Colorado. They had Joe Sakic and Forsberg, and I don't know how much of the NHL we even got to watch over here back then, but that was always my team. No idea why. I just loved watching them play, and those players in particular.
Well, you mentioned Forsberg. They're a great two-way forward. Was he your favorite player growing up?
He was for a period, yeah. Once I got a bit older, I stopped paying much attention, to be honest. But definitely when I was younger, that was kind of the aspirations, and you watched him play, and that's how you wanted to be.
Yeah, he was one of the best to watch. That Avalanche team was a lot of fun to watch. Sakic, and remember the Bork trade. They won the cup that year with Ray Bork. Just a lot of fun. Who's been the biggest influence on your hockey career, Laco?
It's a tough question. I kind of just gone about my business myself, but I think like my parents have been there the whole way through. Like back when I was 10 years old, traveling up to, to Whitley Bay on a Sunday night, and we wouldn't be getting home till early hours. So they've been there the whole time, and now they're coming up to Scotland to watch me up here. So they've been there, like full support. Any decisions I had to make, they were behind any of them. A bit of guidance, but it's kind of been, everything's been my decision, and they've been there to back me up all the way. So yeah, I think my parents have had a big input there.
Well, from the parental input to maybe laughter. Is there a present teammate or a past teammate that when you think about him, you just laugh because it was so much fun? And a lot of players will tell you what they miss when the game is done is the camaraderie in the room. Is there a funny teammate from the past or present?
It always comes back to David Ling. I think for everyone that played with him, he was something else. Hilarious around the room, but he kind of made everyone feel a little more settled if there were nerves or anything. He'd lift everyone up, and hell of a player too. But yeah, there's definitely some stories about him.
He was a great character. We'll have to compare some stories over a beer after a game at Braehead Arena some night. You're sort of like as we said, one of the veteran guys at GB International. You played against Canada at the top level. I mean, just storybook stuff. To get to that success, is there a pregame routine or a pregame meal or something you've been doing for the past 900 games that you just kind of instinctually have to keep going with?
To be honest, not really. I try and stay away from that stuff just in case at some point you can't do something you want to do, and then your head's in a mess. So I don't really have anything, but game days, I'm just, as long as I can get a 2-hour nap in, I'm usually okay. Bit of 2-touch before I warm up.
The nap is when we talk to guys, whether it's Roche or Solzy on here, the nap is always comes up. Speaking of Solo and I think Roche, they both said that you're a pretty good DJ as well. Like you got a good taste in music.
I'll take that. Yeah. I try and keep the dressing room away from the country music. It's tough during the week, but on game days I kind of get to take over. And yeah, I've been doing it for a little while now, so I kind of got a bit of everything in there, keep everybody happy. But it's a big responsibility actually, and to keep everyone happy, it's tough.
For some of our fans who've not been in a hockey dressing room, it really is, isn't it? The veterans kind of have their way. I know Solzy likes a bit of country music on practice days. You probably want a little bit of upbeat stuff on a game day. What's on the decks on a game day?
For me, it's some of the old school stuff, a lot of old rap and the rock songs that kind of they had on the CD player when I was starting with Panthers. Some of those tunes are really stuck with me through it. So I just try and get a lot of mix in, a lot of the newer rap for the younger guys, but it's just basically keeping everybody happy.
There's a lot of guys in that room. Maybe Reese Kelly is one of them, and a lot of our fans who would never have had a CD. So I'm glad you brought up CDs because that was the bane of the dressing room back then, having to change CDs. What's on Netflix right now? We obviously travel from Scotland can be difficult sometimes. So on a game day, if there's a long bus or an airport delay before a flight, what's you're watching right now? What are you binging?
At the minute, I'm watching Reacher. That's on Prime, Amazon Prime. Yeah, to be honest, I've pretty much completed Netflix. So anything that's recently added on there is, that they kind of get watched on every road trip.
Is the Reacher show good? Because the movie with Tom Cruise was hit and miss for me because I've read all the books. I just finished the Reacher book that I got for Christmas, and the books are fantastic.
Yeah, I think I prefer the series to the film, to be honest. But yeah, it's good. Keeps you interested, and kind of there's a lot of action going on in there.
Speaking of travel, so favorite city that you've been to through hockey doesn't need to be in the EIHL. It could have been when we were in Košice or something like that. But what's your favorite city on a game day?
We had a good time in Bern in the Champions League one year. So we get to go out there, have a walk around. It's real pretty old town, and that's one that stood out for me definitely.
It's the biggest building in Europe as well, isn't it? They average like 11,000, 12,000 per game at Bern.
Yeah, saying the rink wasn't too bad either, but that experience as a whole was it's one you remember.
Yeah, I remember that Champions League fondly, and the Panthers. I mean, still the only EIHL team to get out of the group phase. It's been you look back at some of the things you've accomplished, and it is wonderful stuff. When you look at sort of on ice stuff, you talk about Ling being a funny character. He was a really good player as well. Is there one player that sticks out as like maybe the best player you've ever faced?
That's a tough one. Obviously, that first year in the World Championships, the USA team came stacked. You know, they had Jack Eichel, DeBrincat, Patrick Kane. You know, it's tough to kind of put it into words how it was being on the ice with those guys. You know, I'm sure they probably didn't get out of second gear, but just to be chasing them around on the penalty kill while they're zipping it around is pretty fun. But yeah, it's tough to kind of get up there with those guys.
I think back to those moments because it's obviously for you guys it's a pinch me moment, but for an ex-Panther coach Paul Adey and myself, it was pinch me moments too. You look up on the scoreboard and you see Canada versus Great Britain on the scoreboard before pregame skate, and we're going through our notes, and you're going, this is unbelievable that guys like Laco and Dowdy and all these guys that we've known for over a decade are about to go out against, well, Patrick Kane or Anthony Manta on Canada that year. It was just stuff of magic, and you guys played really well against Canada. You played really well against the US. It was just that first tournament was something special, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's something all of us have kind of worked towards since we were little. We probably didn't think it would ever happen, but you know, to get to that point at any stage is unreal. But yeah, it's crazy to think that we were there, and you know, we did ourselves proud, I think. And it was a big learning curve from that first game. I think it was Germany the first year, and then you know, we got it done in the France game to stay up there. So it was a special tournament, and I don't think anyone on that team will ever forget that.
And I was pretty impressed in that first game against Germany because you held your own. And I remember Leon Draisaitl. We all know what he's doing right now with the Oilers. He and Connor McDavid, and you guys, you had Leon Draisaitl frustrated in that game. So you think about some of the moments that are kind of pinch me moments. That would certainly be one of them. If you weren't a 900 game played professional hockey player, Laka, what do you think you'd be?
It would be nice to have been a golfer. I'm sure that's a common answer. But I think, you know, I did my university in sports sciences, so maybe something down maybe the physiotherapy route, or, you know, I think I'd stay in sports if it was possible. But yeah, maybe something down that route.
Well, you'd certainly be busy. I'm sure Kirsty Rogers would tell you she's had her hands full with all the injuries we've had in Glasgow this season, and continues, of course. It's a tough game, and this time of year, that sort of stuff seems to pop itself up. So maybe down the line, you could, when you hang up the skates, probably in another 20 years, you could maybe come and join us on the physio side of things. But for now, we're happy to have you on the ice. You talk about the physical side of the game, and you talk about some of the really good players you've played against, the Patrick Kanes and all that. Is there a guy that sticks out as maybe the toughest guy you've ever played against?
I'm not going to lie, I kind of try and steer clear of all that kind of stuff. It's probably how I've lasted so long, to be honest. But, you know, watching playing with Cam Janssen, that era in the Elite League was kind of crazy. And seeing some of the fights he had, it was, yeah, kind of confirmed it to me that I don't want to be in that situation too often.
Yeah, you don't want to take the penalties. You'll just help kill them off. When he was legitimate tough, and that was, I mean, the McGrattens and the Jansons. That was different gravy in those days. I have a great memory. I don't know if you remember it. It was against Finland in Kosice. I ran into you in the lobby of the hotel. You had a real good game against Finland, but let's be honest, Finland went on to win a bunch of world championships subsequent to that. And you said to me, "Oh my God, like." There's a guy on that team who's 7 feet tall on skates. Remember the captain, Marco Antilli, was 6'8" in his bare feet, and you lined up against him on several occasions. And you said that's just like basketball size. Like that guy's just too big to play hockey. And it was just a really nice moment because I remember looking out and going, my goodness, I don't know if some of these guys have ever faced a guy this big.
No, definitely not. And like, not only are they tall, they're in proportion. It's just like an enlarged human being. So, you know, you gotta hope your speed's there to kind of not end up getting crushed by those guys. But say they're that size, but they skate so well too, especially those Finland, Norway, Sweden kind of countries. They're huge, but they move so well. So, if you're not on your game, you're in trouble.
They finish every hit as well, and I remember that was a pretty physical game against Finland, and they're all physical at that level, certainly. But you guys played well, and it was neat because those guys did go on to win a bunch of gold medals after that sort of point in Kosice. They've become certainly a powerhouse at the top level. On the eve of this, the 900th game played, anything special? Are the folks going to travel to Dundee, friends, ex-teammates, or is it just going to be another night at the office for you, Lachowicz?
I think it's just going to be another night at the office. My parents were up over Christmas. My girlfriend came up last week. To be honest, I don't think I didn't know till yesterday that this was a thing. So I think I remember having my 800th game last season, so I wasn't expecting it so soon. But I think it was at the start of last season. So no, it's going to be me and the teammates in Dundee and, pushing for that win.
It's been a wild ride, and I remember the first time I saw you with GB and with the Panthers, and to have you in purple has certainly been a privilege for us and the backroom staff. I'm sure the fans are enjoying it as well. You've had a great start to your clan career. I think you had 8 goals in league play last year on a really good Guildford team. You nearly won the league last year. You've already got 9 this year, so you've got the fountain of youth, the consistency still going, and certainly more to come. Has there been a moment where you kind of go, right, it's been a great move, like you like the city? Tell us about Glasgow as a whole since the start of the season.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I've always enjoyed playing up here when I've been on other teams. I seem to have good games up here. So, when the opportunity came, like, obviously you were on board and the new ownership and stuff, it seemed like a good play. But everything's been no complaints from me since I've been up here. I'm living by the rink. The Brits I know on the team already. So just getting to know the new imports in here. But again, some of them have been on the team, so they know the difference this year to how it's been previously. So real easy to settle in, a great place. The weather's not been too bad, and a couple good, nice golf courses around.
Yeah, you do love your golf, and I told a couple of the new imports to not make any bets with you on golf because they would probably be relieved of their pound sterling fairly quickly. Thanks for taking the time to join us on CLANFIDENTIal, Lachowicz, and congratulations. I know you're not the type of guy who worries about personal accolades. You're about trophies and certainly representing your country and your club, but it's been an honor that you will celebrate 900 in purple, so all the best on Saturday night.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it.